Hope we can. Okay, welcome very, very much to Conversations. A pleasure to welcome to Conversations Beth Lamont, and Beth Lamont is was the wife of the great civil libertarian, one of the major people in that regard, that being Corliss Lamont. He will be known to many of the people who are watching, and she continues the work, and she's a humanist, and you're also involved as a pastor or as a...
I'm a humanist chaplain.
A humanist chaplain, yes. And she's a humanist, and Beth is so good and welcome so much.
I wanted to say thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure, my God.
It's going to be hard to shut me up.
Well, good. It was as hard as it was to shut up Corliss, I don't know. But anyway, Beth, why don't you share with us your background in a sense, because you were the wife of Corliss Lamont, but share your own background. I was a person
before that.
Yes, I know. Yeah, share your life. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, I was with Manhattan Neighborhood Network in 1984.
Wow.
As you were. We were over on 23rd Street or something.
Yeah, we were there then.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And so I had a cable show, but I came with my camera to interview the famous Corliss Lamont. He gave me a wonderful interview, and then he said, "What are you doing for dinner?"
Babe.
Yes! I love it.
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful to be with him. He knew so many people.
He
was involved and so passionate, so committed.
Absolutely.
He was a fighter and a lover.
Yeah. Good. That's a good combination. And why don't you share Corliss Lamont? And let's just talk briefly. He was a major figure. He was the first person in my memory. He's a little bit older than me, but he took exception when it was difficult against McCarthy.
That's what
and
was
stood
happening.
up to him and sued him and that sort of thing. But share a little bit of Corliss.
He was a great deal older than you. That man was born in 1902. And we already...
He didn't seem that old.
I know, because he was so vigorous.
Yeah,
but
he was.
We already celebrated his centenary there in the Department of Law. He endowed a civil liberties chair at Columbia.
Yes, that's right. He was connected with Columbia.
And so that's where the celebration took place in 2002.
They got the Lamont Observatory over in Jersey now. It's a major research facility.
It really is. And you see credits on a lot of the things having to do with tectonic plates and ocean bottom mapping, things like that.
And
his mother gave their home, to Columbia at that time. We even have on the wall Florence Corliss. And her last name was Corliss. His mother, Florence Corliss Lamont, handing the deed to Dwight Eisenhower when he was president of Columbia.
Wow, that's right. He was president.
He was, yes.
And wasn't he associated with automobiles or something, or Corliss? I mean, or the Lamont family were associated. They were major figures in terms of the structure of the American economy.
Yes. Well, I always say he was born a child of Wall Street, but he learned early on that capitalism does not benefit the workers, does not honor, the general public, and so he would be out there as part of Occupy Wall Street.
He would be at the front of the parade. I know he would.
He would. He was just such a courageous person.
Yeah, he was. And a civil libertarian.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a humanist.
And a humanist.
Yeah, wrote very well on humanism.
And those things really dovetail. I was going to talk about that, the similarity, the Declaration of Human Rights.
Right.
That was written, and the Humanist Manifesto was written in 1933.
Now, the Humanist Manifesto, he put that together?
No, did not.
Okay,
no, somebody else did, but he signed it subsequently. But the whole thing is respect human beings.
Right.
And the humanist point of view is not atheist or agnostic. It's embracing of all good human endeavors. And many times in the humanist movement, people who are libertarians, and they more or less are saying we don't have any obligation, we want freedom. And this really worries me.
It does.
As a humanist chaplain, I work with people at the United Nations who are religious. Now, if religion motivates them you know, to do good works for human beings here and now. Here and now.
Here and now. That was the name of your
show.
Right, that was the name of your shows.
Was that
the name of the show that you did the original interview for him with?
That was it.
That was it. Here and now.
I may play it again.
Yeah, right. By all means.
Joe Friendly.
And Larry Gell.
And Larry Gell.
Aren't they great people? Yeah,
they
members
really
here
are.
of the team.
Yeah, Larry Gell was a partner at the UN, and he did so many interviews.
I know.
And talking with heads of state and working on peace projects.
Probably better coverage of the UN of anybody else in terms of video. Yeah,
I think so, because he was
talked
inside.
to everybody. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
He was
inside the United Nations.
That was it.
And that's
his
an
title.
important institution. It's associated with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Definitely.
Margaret Mead, Buckminster Fuller,
All
some of the
those,
major thinkers, Corliss Lamont, who were really leading toward you know, a better kind of world.
I was about to say Joe Friendly. Joe Friendly has carried the Here and Now show, because I'm not involved in the videotaping anymore, and he goes to great events.
Joe Friendly is the C-SPAN of the truth.
Truth for a change.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Do you know, when I've known Joe for 30, 40 years, 30 years. He came from Chicago, he had a law degree, electrical engineering, and he came to New York from Chicago because of public access. And the first program that he had, he's always been in the same general area in terms of consciousness. The name of his first program was Fundamental Change.
Yes, yes.
And then he changed it to, I think,
Truth for a Change. Truth for a Change.
A great double entendre, really.
Oh, I love
He does great work.
And that really plugged into Barack Obama.
Yeah, I'm not
so
sure.
Many people
I'm going to try.
inspired.
You would like it if people were able to see this.
Yes.
Oh, this is to you, actually. I'm going to hold this up, and no real rush. I'm just going to hold it. And when you get it together, you could come in on this close focus shot of a card that is from them. There's no hurry for you to do it.
It'll
take them a while to come
anybody out there
in.
in the audience is involved in the Barack Obama campaign, making sure that people, I worry, so many people who wanted the change, they wanted the change to come about immediately, and some voted for the first time.
They may not.
People who felt disenfranchised. What's the sense in voting? He inspired people to believe that there could be change.
I think I'm going to have to talk. Apparently, they don't. The robotic camera's not working right. But it's a picture of our first, Barack Obama and Michelle and the girls, and it says, "To Beth, movements for real and lasting change are sustained by the relationships we build with one another. Thank you for your support, Michelle Obama."
Yes.
And that's wonderful. That's a picture, a very not good picture of the president and his wife and family.
And the children.
The women are behind him. That's wonderful.
Right.
He's
And if you go online
there.
and support, you'll get one of these acknowledgments also.
Well, no, that's good. And you're right. There was that. You were. We were talking historically, and I think the humanist thing is really growing. I would count myself a humanist and everything, that sort of thing. And I think an ability to understand the human condition and the broader issues of the universe within a humanist or even a secular context of intellectual understanding is growing, don't you?
How do you think we started?
How do you think we started what?
What's the meaning of life? Human beings.
Well, human beings. I think we have more and more of an understanding. I think we're at a point, for whatever it's worth, it's going almost exponential. Every day, Beth, there comes over the transom a new revolution from every field of understanding the realities of this world and this universe in a way that we simply haven't had historically.
Except that, along with that, are frightening things. I was going to go to origins, and evolution, but the things that are frightening me right now, I am so concerned that we are drifting, maybe rushing pell-mell into fascism. There is a new bill. I wanted to let you know about it.
Let me know about it, yeah.
Yes.
I'm concerned, yeah.
I was writing an appeal to protect the protesters. we have a right.
Occupy, yeah.
Yeah, we have a fundamental right. The Bill of Rights says to address.
Redress of grievances.
To
assemble to redress of grievances.
Now, this new thing, no trespassing on any federal building, in front of it. It's going to be a new law. Write this down and write your congressman.
243 or something.
347.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's called, and what a euphemism, protection or enhancement of public places or something. All it means is you go there to protest and you're going to get arrested. It's enough that people are getting maced and
pepper spray.
Pepper spray.
Yeah,
oh,
David
that's so
said,
disgraceful.
yeah, right.
That's so disgraceful. Well, I wanted to go back to, so please contact Congress and tell them don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Because that's what I was saying.
I think they've done it. It's been done.
They passed it?
I'm not sure.
Oh, my God.
I'm not sure.
Oh, my God.
Well, there was a precedent. There was one preceding to another one. They passed that. I really wanted to get. Russ Baker's written well. He writes very well and everything. Everything.
Alerts.
No, to look at it, because one of the things you got to be careful about is hyperbole and people getting bent and not understanding the full implication of something.
That's
and you want to do it, but there's a great deal of alarm loose in the world, I think, and they can be. There was another one that is a thing where they could declare somebody a suspicion of being a terrorist. I think it has to do with a lot with hackers.
Targeted assassinations of an alleged enemy.
No, they could target an American.
Indefinite detention
Yeah,
of a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, and
we have
as it's being reported, it was passed by that was passed overwhelmingly by the Congress and signed by the President. And if you get the reports, you want to get the details and have it correct and everything. But essentially, the way it may be alarmist, but they say that it would be somebody is a terrorist or something. They could call them that, and then they could literally just put them in a prison cell, lock the door, no attorney, no habeas corpus, no First Amendment at all. Would be there because it'd be like something they're extending. And this is an extension of that concern by the people responsible for the establishment for a threat to our system.
Threat to our system, yes.
The political system in place that they're trying to reify. And it could be directed very much against this thing going and blowing in the wind now, or in the world, this Occupy movement that came up like over these last few months, there, and I've said to many people, I'm getting older, I'm glad
already.
Well, yes, but I'm saying I've been doing this kind of stuff and thinking this way for decades, as have you, and there'll be some, we had Vietnam, we got out of things, but the system just keeps going on, and it's building to a point now where I'm glad I lived long enough to see the trying of there to being expressed on this planet of a thing that goes over the whole system and challenges the whole system, rather than those who represent the outdated institutions that we call a legitimate order.
Yes.
And I think they're very worried that there could be something on the order of a citizens' general strike against the inappropriateness of the way we're trying to operate this spaceship Earth. What are you pointing at with your thing?
I'm pointing to an innovation.
The cell phone.
The cell phone and the computer.
Yeah.
This way we can talk to people across the world.
Yes.
And WikiLeaks, to Google something.
They got Bradley Manning still locked up, don't they?
They do. They do.
He's a hero to me.
He is a
and
hero to me.
And Assange is a hero to me.
Yes.
And they're displaying, and those are the kind of people, particularly I think people who are hackers, they're trying to identify as somebody who could seriously challenge the inappropriate system they're insisting is appropriately in touch with what history requires.
I mean, one of Corliss's mantras was the people's right to know. Why should there be secrets in a democracy? If indeed
we're not in a democracy.
No, if
we're not. We never had. We should get over that. We've
never
never been in a democracy, have we, Beth? In real terms?
No.
It's a farce to say so.
It is, but
and it's worse
I
now.
want for us. But we're promoting democracy around the world at gunpoint.
Yeah.
This scares the hell out of me.
Yes, yeah.
I fear that so many people are complacent, and that's why I'm glad the Occupy movement is getting publicity. Some people are saying, well, they're just a bunch of kids and they want free this and that.
You're used
not
to
even
having that-
understanding. I'm hearing
Aren't you used to having that thrown at you?
Yeah.
You're just a pacifist. You're just a dreamer. You kind of thing. You're
that's
talking
right.
about peace. They're not going to have peace.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is the gun and power and
That's
war.
right.
And realpolitik still rules in terms of the geopolitical structure
You
and
know what I
understanding.
worry about right now? U.S. with bases all around,
All over the
and
world.
the ability to target wherever we deem an enemy du jour.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
What do you think of that?
Yeah,
An
well,
enemy, whoever we say is a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I heard on Amy Goodman's program this morning.
She's wonderful, yeah.
Oh, she is just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
About a young man who, in Yemen,
Mm-hmm.
he is incarcerated because he was exposing that a U.S. drone.
Aren't they awful? Or are they? They seem dystopic, science fiction
But
horror.
it was children,
Yeah.
families and
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
and he was exposing that. And Obama now has been cautioned that this man is part of Al-Qaeda. He's arrested. The officials in Yemen were going to release him because everybody was appealing for him. And he got a call from Obama saying that he's a terrorist. Keep him in prison.
Yeah, right.
How
And with this
can they
new
have
law,
that
they can
much
throw away
power?
the key, apparently.
Oh.
I mean, it's a real threat
Honey,
to...
I worry that if we are too complacent in this country and not being aware of what's going on, that we are now the good Germans of 1933.
33
with
was
the
a
rise
yeah.
of fascism.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
I guess they thought Hitler would pass, they'd get over it. All the good Germans, those who hid Jewish families,
Yeah.
and there were good-hearted people. But the rise of a fascist system, where what do you do? Sig Heil, and you have to, pay obeisance to the state, the power of the state.
Power of the state, and then also the private sector entities that make up
Right.
the power structure.
And the
Corliss,
money.
incidentally, was a member of he would have been part of the born to the manor class of our American society. He was in a certain sense a traitor to his class.
He was. He
Are there very
explains
many
that.
are there very many traitors to the class of the people who are running this society that come out of that, or does it
I
come out of
wonder
people who have suffered at the basic? Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
think
Are there
anyone
very
with
many
a conscience,
people? Huh?
anyone with a conscience, and I think somehow the better educated you become, the more you feel in touch with literature around the world, various philosophic and scientific efforts. I worry about this Republican. I'm so embarrassed. You almost need a barf bag to watch anything. The Republicans, they're crazy. And this, I was going to talk about evolution at one time.
Well, I'd
but
be
I got
happy to,
off-side.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
but now I want to talk about
I brought that
Corliss.
in my book bag, but you've got your own. I'm not
Oh.
sure. Just try to hold it up. Maybe they can come in.
I hope that you
Look
can
here
see.
this way. Put
Yeah,
it there and just let them come in.
Yes.
That's called Lefties Are in Their Right Minds. That's
Right, but the-
Beth Lamont wrote this book.
No, I
about
didn't.
Corliss.
I just wrapped
Well,
my
you-
granny blog around
Right,
it and
right, right.
commentary.
Right.
But Corliss, here is Corliss.
Yeah, God bless him.
And he was a child of Wall Street, and he learned at the family dining table
Yeah.
the difficulties. And I imagined a conversation when he was quite audacious
Yeah.
and had such a conscience. And I can imagine him saying, "But Dad, now that factory's shut down, and all those people are out of work. What's going to happen to their families and their kids?" And his father, who was actually quite liberal and a partner of J.P. Morgan,
Yeah.
would have been saying, "Well, sorry,
Partner
son."
to J.P. Morgan.
That's what it was.
J.P.
That was the
Morgan ran the
connection.
country at one
You
time.
know it.
Yeah, yeah.
But he would have said, "Well, sorry, son, that's the way it is with the capitalist system. If they can't pay their bills and their product isn't selling,
Oh,
they
no.
go under."
Yeah.
But Dad, that's not fair.
Uh-huh.
That's not fair. And you have money. Couldn't you loan them some money? Well, sorry, son, that wouldn't be a good investment if they can't pay their bills. They wouldn't be able to repay the loan now, would they? And he would say, I'm even writing, that Corliss was not known to be sarcastic, but he would have said, you mean you can only get a loan if you don't need one?
Exactly right. That is true.
Right.
That is true,
And and at the same time, he was beginning to be interested in, he read 10 Days That Shook the World. Yes. And that was such an inspiration to him. And the ideals that were espoused during the Bolshevik Revolution. This is a people's revolution, and throwing off the power of the czars and the vested interests. It would be the soldiers, the sailors, the farmers. This is where the passion came and the belief that they could do it. That it turned totalitarian eventually is a tragedy, because it did start out very idealistically. Power to the workers.
Well,
tired of being exploited.
Right.
And it was perceived in this country as a giant threat. Do you mean that we have to share more with the workers? No way, no way. And the church, because in the Bolshevik Revolution, they were, what did you call it, iconoclastic, they're smashing churches, and there was a phrase, the blood-sucking church, which offered, celestial real estate, but it wasn't helping anything for the hungry tummies here and now. And so that was seen as a big threat. So we have collusion, the power structures in this country to thwart and smash out, do not support labor unions. It was just like an insane rampage. HUAC, are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Remember, COINTELPRO, they were investigating
sneaking in and trying to make it go violent or something like that.
Agents provocateurs who would come in and do it. They would do that.
Do you know that actually in New York State, socialists were elected. Elected. They went to the state legislature and were challenged there. They ended up with a Supreme Court case. I think this was 1923 or something. Because it would have swept the country, and we might have an entirely different, more humane system at this point.
So you have faith with the leftists and the liberals and the...
Well, I say human. We need to humanize an inhumane system. And this is where
on the
I
planet.
stand.
And that's not only here in this country, but that's in the... And, if you go to some of the Fuller and some of the Isaac Asimov and some of the... Isaac Asimov and everything. But if you go to them, they're thinking in comprehensive terms and so forth, and they all sort of cotton to the idea that James Joyce put into the mouth of Daedalus, that history is a nightmare of injustice from which we're attempting to awaken. But all of history, in a very real sense, seen in a certain way, has been a few people who have control over a society once we got to civilization, and then the people were wallowing around in the mud.
Damn it, they've controlled it long enough. I want to see people power,
you want
not
something.
anarchism.
Okay, then let's get it down to one thing. You want something that has never been. It's never been. There's no era we can go to that would be a golden era. Even if you go to Periclean Greece,
they had slaves.
It was based on
they
slaves.
had slaves.
And Aristotle
and they condoned it.
They condoned it as a necessity in order for the few of the mind and spirit to live well. You had to have slaves.
That's still going on.
No, but he said it would. But Aristotle said it's necessary for there to be slaves, so that the few who are really the patriarchs of the society to live well, they have to provide those things, and it would be so until and unless the loom learned to weave and the plectrum learned to play.
It's automatic now. We have
Well, the point I'm getting to is
we're getting to that.
there's never been justice. It's always been slavery, the power by the gun. You can conquer the other tribe, enslave them, steal their land, and that's still in place. That's still the way of thinking between the nations.
The system is exploited.
Now you're going to blame it on the capitalist system.
Yes, I'm going to blame it on the capitalist.
Okay, you want to? You could, yeah.
The capitalist system
if you want, yeah.
has no conscience. And what we need is a system that has conscience, compassion, and respect. If you are respecting the human beings in a country, you don't do targeted assassinations no matter who you think that you're after. If you think there is an enemy there, you go and try to bring that person to justice and expose the wrong.
But you're getting a little confused.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Go ahead.
With my kids, if they'll say, he hit me first. I'm saying, wait a minute. If you knew that was the wrong thing to do and you didn't like it, but yet you chose to do it also, I think that's a double wrong.
Wait a minute, somebody defends themselves? Somebody's defending themselves against somebody who made an aggression on them.
This is defending. This is retaliating. Big difference.
Oh, so if somebody attacks you unjustly, then you have the right to try and put your hands up, but you dasn't ever effectively hit back.
Well,
is that what you're saying? You just take it, in a sense?
I don't
Or
think
how do we deal with that, you know? Just go supine and let them, you know, Gandhi did that as a strategic thing against the British and so forth. That's been used, passive resistance.
Well,
Martin King did it.
There are many things that I would die for, and to protect my children, and to stand for my rights. You know, I'll be pepper sprayed, whatever. Oh, I didn't show
What
you
do you show me? Show me. What do you have to show me? Show me, girl.
Yes.
Show me, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. But what I'm saying is...
We're on similar ground in singing the praises of Corliss Lamont, for crying out loud.
I'm saying that there are things that I would die for, but there is nothing that I would kill for. And there's a big difference. I don't want to hear about revenge, vengeance, you know, and that's one of my objections to religion. Vengeance is the name of God and this kind of thing. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you.
Well, I think the best thing, given my thing, is you hold it up, because I think they can come in on this camera. They weren't able to come in on mine. So hold it and be patient as they come in.
Beth being handicapped.
Oh, there's an unidentified woman is handcuffed in front of United Nations headquarters, and that woman, that lovely thing, is none other than our current guest. That's Beth Lamont being busted by the fuzz, right?
Right. Yeah? And I
was at a thing with Peter Yarrow the other night, and he said, and he was singing a song. He said, "When were you last jailed for justice?"
That's it.
Have you ever been jailed for justice? Apparently you were.
That's what it was. I was in the paddy wagon. We had raging grannies. We were down
raging grannies. God bless them. Yeah.
Well, do you know I was with them in jail? And did you ever hear one of their songs?
Can you remember it? Or do you know it?
Yes.
Okay, sing it, girl. Sing.
Halliburton, Halliburton, Halliburton. Profits for war. You like that?
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
The mercenaries.
Yeah.
Oh, Eisenhower warned us about it. The military-industrial complex.
You know,
and in order to wait a minute, let me say. In order to keep that machinery going, you must have an enemy.
Yeah.
So that's why I say we have enemies du jour.
Oh, yeah.
And if we run out of enemies, look, if we were trying to have an enemy factory, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
If my village were bombed and I were the survivor, I would say, those goddamn Americans, I'll kill them all.
Yeah, of course.
I'm a peace person.
Yeah, right.
You know, can you imagine? We'll have an unlimited supply for generations.
Unlimited supply of
angry people
against us.
Yeah, who will be raging. Americans, go home. Get them out of our country. What are we doing?
You have a particular grief against Americans and against capitalists.
Yes. Well, I love Americans.
Yeah, that's a different breed of There are very few capitalists in any real term, if you use that term. There are very few. There's just a time. They got this thing in Occupy 1%. And it probably is reflective of the ownership of things.
The profit is raked off at the top.
Yeah.
It needs to be reinvested into our common good.
Right.
And this was the ideal of socialism.
Well, you see, yeah.
And China's doing it. China is doing a good job of it. Government,
You think they are?
Yes, they are. Government is putting money, it's investing in entrepreneurs, into industry, being supportive of the people. They may not have the human rights thing down yet, but we don't have it in this country. We have more people in prison than any other country on the face of this earth.
I'll be
and I heard
really.
Russia
Yeah,
and
we
China
do, yeah.
combined.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And so
we have
that's
a
another-
prison industrial complex.
See, it's
yeah.
the same thing.
It's a growth
And
industry,
right on.
putting people in
Upstate
prison.
New York
Yeah.
is pretty much dependent on its prisons.
That's
and
right.
so a nice supply of people, bring them up from the city, put them in prison, keep upstate.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's
God.
inordinately directed at people who are black and brown persuasion.
Yeah.
And, so it's
true.
been like that. That's true, and that sort of thing. And it's a real difficult. There's always been some people who try to say for peace. Okay, hold it. You have to hold it again.
All right, I'll hold this.
This is a picture, and we can come in on. That's a picture of Corliss, this gentleman here. Is this you here, Beth? or-
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yes,
Beth there. Corliss meeting with Fidel Castro
And we got hugs from
in
Havana.
Havana or wherever that
we were
was.
there in 91.
So he was an admirer in '59 when he overthrew the Batista regime, I presume. He was radical right from being a young man. He didn't
Yes.
just have a road to
yes,
death.
yeah.
Yeah.
Corliss's first encounter with power and blowing, he was a whistleblower. In his, he went to Exeter Academy before he got to Harvard.
Right.
And he learned that they were baking the baseballs, which made them more dense, and that gave an edge to the team that was using it.
Baking them, put them in an oven?
Baking the balls, yes.
Is that true?
Clay inside whatever it was.
Yeah,
It made
okay,
it more,
okay, I didn't hear that, but okay, yeah.
Well, he wrote about it in his Yes to Life
Yes.
and how he became radical. And he went to the coach and told this. And the coach got fired, and all of the team is angry at him. They're going to throw him in the river.
And what happened?
Well, somebody intervened.
Was he a good swimmer?
He would have had to be. But he learned, when you are a whistleblower, you get the consequences.
Yeah,
They
you
were
are.
all sore at him.
Yeah.
And then there was another time.
And
this was
larger
later.
issues too. He was he was a serious member of the established. I mean, in terms of economics and everything.
Right.
And he was a traitor to the interests of that class.
That's right.
And that's interesting.
But that
How
was
many?
a matter of conscience.
Yeah.
Conscience it was his.
But I don't think. Do you think the people over the ages who garnered? I got to think of Confucius. It's immoral for a person to be honored in a society that is fundamentally unjust. And the people that we have that are the owners of the system, the capitalists, have that they are being honored or being recognized as our so-called leaders in an unjust system is unjust.
I agree. I'll shake on that one.
And that it's always been like that, though.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
I'll be 83 this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you carry it well, don't you?
Well, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And I keep
Good
thinking, how
genes,
much time do I have?
Yeah.
And it makes it so much more important to try to make something happen if
Yeah.
I can.
Aren't you encouraged by this thing this Occupy?
Yes,
I'm telling you.
And I'm going to get this out. I'm republishing.
Are you
I
going
used
to
up all-
republish Leftist?
But let me tell you a funny. It's only going to be half as big.
Why?
Because I gave one of these to Pete Seeger.
God bless Pete Seeger
Oh,
and the
I'm
Weavers.
so proud of him.
Yeah.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah.
And his wife Toshi.
Yes.
And he wrote me a little card, and it has his little hand-drawn banjo on
Yes,
it,
right.
Pete. And he said, Beth, if you make it half as big, twice as many people might read it. And I thought, yes,
okay.
Pete, you're right.
Yeah.
So it's going to come out only half as big.
Which half are you going to use? The front or the back, or how are you going to
Neither.
take?
I'm
you're
going to
going
take
summarize
selected.
it.
And it's going to have Occupy in it.
Okay, good.
And saying that Corliss would be there. And
Oh, he
They're
would
in
be for
spirit.
sure. He would
That's
be
what
right
I'm
in
gonna-
front of the parade, yeah.
This came out just as Obama was elected.
How many in our society in that position of leadership, economic or political, are going to be in front of that parade? How many of them have shown any gumption in terms of supporting the Occupy? Our mayor, they had a thing downtown that 86% of the population of New York were in favor of the people that were doing that, and they went in like stormtroopers.
Oh,
and so forth.
destroyed.
Of the leadership, the so-called leadership, the media, the political, are there any people who really come right out and say, I'm in support of this idea that there's a fundamental change that we have to come to? Have any of the people picked up that mantle yet that are in positions of so-called leadership, either intellectual, political, or banking?
I've got an answer for that.
What? Is there anyone?
Yes.
I don't think
Yes.
there is.
Oh, there are many, many
Where?
people.
I don't see
And
anybody
you'll
really
see them.
full-throatedly supporting it as he would have supported it.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody.
The problem is, don't watch the corporate media, except for maybe MSNBC. They've got some good people on that. You'll get good information on
was Obama
Wait a
who
minute.
did-
Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Well, but that's
They
a
ha-
small,
they are
little sliver, yeah.
But
it's
the
good.
corporate media that
Yeah.
wants to follow up.
Well, the corporate
and
media are
dismiss it.
Yeah, but I'm
and
saying the corporate
minimize
media
it.
is in league with the leaders. They're called leaders.
All right. Well, what are we going to do about it?
Well, that's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Corliss, I had this image with, Pete might have been there, but Corliss was, in order to be in that kind of a position of supporting a massive movement, of supporting the people in general, you have to be seen, if you're from that patrician class, Harvard, Yale, all that, money, politics, political power, inherited wealth, all of that kind of thing that gives you that position, that leadership, you have to be a traitor to your class in order to be in that position. We don't seem to have any that are emerging, including our president. They're going to start locking up Occupy people. They're going to start attacking it. They're going to reify the outdated institutions. Where is the leadership going to come from these people that are trying to bring horizontal, massive investigation of the whole human condition and insisting upon a qualitative transformation? Where is the leadership for that going to come from, or where is it? Is there anything going to come from any of the leadership elements that are bought and paid for by the system?
Maybe Harold Channer will be inspiring. The words that you have gotten out, I watch you faithfully at 11
you. I
o'clock,
appreciate that.
but you have interviewed so many wise people. Brenner,
Lenny Brenner.
Lenny
Lenny's
Brenner. I was saying, right on.
Yeah.
And if this
I hope he
doesn't
comes over that. He's got a bout of cancer now, but I think he'll be over that soon, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Bucky
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
he
all
was
the
great.
good
Isaac
people.
Asimov.
Right.
Some of the. Where are the thinkers on that order now? I don't find any. Can you find them? I'm looking for them. And maybe we're waiting.
Ramsey Clark.
Ramsey Clark, God bless him.
Yes, right.
He's a traitor
But
to
you
his
know
class.
what? Right, but do you know, so many of the wise ones are dying off.
Well,
we need
okay.
young people to carry the banner.
I think a lot of
and
the
to
people-
believe in that people power is important.
Okay, a lot of
People power.
the people in that Occupy are young.
Yes.
And it's good
you
that
know,
it's coming
they
from
are
them.
using democratic means. Have you been down there? Mic check, and that goes out over, and they're not allowed to use microphones.
Yeah, why
That's
aren't they? What is there about
It's
how
a
they can't? No, I know, but
prohibition.
why are they
Ordinance.
able to assert something where the means by which they can redress grievances in an effective way, whether in the media or whatever, why is that being systematically denied to these people, and they're going to be dismissed? Oh, they'll go away and they'll get a
Yeah.
job and they'll
Honey,
settle down, and it's
was
just
written
youthful energy.
In our Constitution or our Bill of Rights,
Mm-hmm.
people have a right to assemble peaceably for
Yeah, but
wait a minute.
they're
but wait a
invading
minute.
that now principle
But
now
they,
in a system
even
way.
then, for all of our years, the people's rights have been trampled on.
Yeah.
Union workers. Corliss got arrested with the union. They were protesting, and Mayor Haig in New Jersey was saying, there'll be no labor strikes in my city.
Yeah.
And ACLU went over there, and he was arrested. This was even an item in the New York Times. Son of Wall Street arrested in labor strike. So, but there.
Yeah, he was a traitor. Now, do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, honey,
He's
I
a traitor
understand.
to his class.
Yes.
And that class thing goes to both your Democrats and your Republicans. You don't have anything in the Democratic Party that's representing that. They only just sort of.
I think I resent class.
Okay.
Class schmash.
Class smash. Go ahead.
Yes.
You think so? Yeah.
I think having money.
Well, of course, that's what it is.
This is left over from some kind of nobility people aspired to in Europe and things like that.
Right.
Class, I think, and I think Corliss resented that also. He said, so we had money, and I knew what to do, how to invest the money that was at my disposal in order to promote the things that I loved and believed in.
That's Corliss talking. Yeah, that's right. He did.
And when this book first came out, Barack Obama had just been elected, and as a humanist, I don't pray, but I was saying, if there is any goodwill in the universe, if there is such a thing as a guardian angel, may this man be protected. Because if he starts upsetting people's gravy train or apple carts or whatever, disturbing the status quo and those who benefit from the way things are,
which are the elite.
I fear that something bad would
Well, do you
happen
remember-
to him the way it happened to Kennedy.
Okay, well, that was an assassination, but the thing is that Roosevelt came in the 30s. We had the last Great Depression caused by the bankers.
He was a traitor to his moneyed interests.
Well,
also.
okay, he was.
And
that's
he was
something
criticized.
but
Social Security? Oh, my God.
Well, you're going in a way
We're going in socialism.
I would have made another distinction. There would be people who were radical, people who wanted universal justice, and they said we should. Yeah. They felt that he was somebody, the first thing that he had to do was to make sure of the continuation of the capitalist system. He had to save capitalism from its own
and the same thing
and
happened.
he did.
And that's
Roosevelt saved capitalism.
That's the first thing Obama was responsible for, bailing out Wall Street.
Right, okay, that's what the point I'm making. So do you think that the capitalist system, the major thing of somebody who's destined to become the New Deal, Glass-Steagall, all of these kind of things that were done, Social Security, Medicare, the things that were growing out of that left element of the Democratic Party
were there.
It was a
concession.
But the main thing was to save capitalism.
But there was so much pressure about socialism. People in the universities were
Would you
inspired.
want to have a socialist system? Is that something you would like to see?
What's your definition of socialism?
I don't know. I would see it as something that in its more radical form.
Are you thinking of totalitarianism?
Not at all.
Or fascism?
No,
that's what people equate it with because it's been maligned. It's been propagandized. What do you think HUAC was about? What do you think McCarthy was about?
Right.
If you understand those movements, House Un-American Activities, are you now or have you ever been?
Yeah.
All right. Was that an okay thing to do? No. They were trying to protect from a people's movement from below.
Well, wait a minute. That's what's
labor
going.
Unions.
Well, wait. Labor union. Yeah. And what it comes down to is they're going to protect the interests of those who are wealthy. No, you don't think it isn't all? It seems to me it's all economics. The only thing that matters in the order of things is money. That's the only thing that matters.
The capitalist system says cheap labor, cheap materials, exploit the earth any way you please. You don't have to have a conscience to be a capitalist. It would be a great benefit if there were capitalists with conscience. That would be a wonderful thing. But as long as they're free, this idea of freedom, American freedom, my freedom to swing my arm better stop short of your nose.
Right,
Okay?
Or you get
and
violence,
I expect government to protect your nose. Let me tell you a funny conversation.
Okay, tell me a funny conversation.
This will really knock you out. I'm on the phone with somebody in Arizona, and he said, "Oh, ha, 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 ha. Obama really got caught with his pants down there." I said, "Oh, what are you saying?" "Well, that Gulf oil spill, that was a terrible thing to happen. They should have been on top of that, not letting something like that happen." I'm saying, I'm so glad that you are for more government regulation to protect the environment, to protect the people. Hell no, I want the goddamn government off my back. My taxes are too. And I said, Did you hear what you just said?
Yeah.
You said two opposite things, and the answer was, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a schizophrenic kind of, and this is what the Republicans are doing.
What do
you think about freedom? I think Wall Street should not be free to exploit people. Do you know how many people are out of their homes now, been evicted?
Yeah, I know.
And so many people are unemployed?
Right. Yeah.
This is without conscience. How can they do that? And that's why I'm a humanist, and I believe this part of socialism, caring for promoting labor.
Yeah, I hear you're a humanist. That's wonderful. Are you also a dedicated socialist in terms of your thinking? Do they go hand in hand in your view?
I don't think anything that is rigid and from time before. I think you take the inspiration for what people were trying to do. And in the Soviet Union, it was, did you know that we invaded the Soviet Union in 1917?
Well, okay, I understand.
You know that?
Well, I do in a sense. I know somewhat of the history.
No sense. We were there, and you can read about it. Our Siberian Adventure by General William Graves.
Okay.
We were over there, and the whole intent was to strangle the infant of socialism in its cradle.
Okay.
And this is historical. We were over there engaging. We were protecting the White Russians and making sure that the railroad and protecting munitions to keep them from getting into the hands of the Bolsheviks.
Right.
We were over there.
Yeah.
So we were already scared spitless of socialism.
Well, then what is it about socialism that is so frightening?
It's been maligned. Don't you get it? That's
so are you? You want socialism?
I want.
You don't want capitalism? You don't
I do not want capitalism.
Well, then why did Roosevelt go to all those lengths, and why has our President Obama gone to all those lengths to save capitalism from its own demise?
Capitalism has the power.
No,
it has the upper hand. The people don't have the upper hand. The
No.
people don't have. I want a.
You want a socialist thing like they tried to do in Russia? You want a socialist thing like Cuba or what? I don't understand.
Badly.
Yeah.
Well, hey, both of these systems had attacks from without and undermining from within. If we could develop a democratic socialism.
How about a democratic capitalism?
No. No.
Why? Why are you so sure that that's not something that ought to, it's increasingly...
Look, capitalism is designed to make a profit, not to benefit the people or the society. It's the dedication. Social means the whole family. You do what's best for the whole family. Just think of a family sitting at the kitchen table trying to figure out their
budget or whatever. Right.
And the kids are hungry. Their little tummies are growling.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out how to pay the rent. And they feel besieged by the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so they have to pay for bars on their windows. They have to subscribe to protection from without. All kinds of weird things instead of feeding their kids and taking care of the home.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. Our budget. That's just what we're doing.
Military-industrial complex.
Exactly.
No? Yeah.
We are
to protect the empire. It's an imperialism.
Because there's fear out there in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I understand all that, but I'm saying...
So just think of that, of the juxtaposition, the family budget, and the way the money is being wasted. It's not taking care of the health care, the education, all of these things. This is the human part of the needs, and it should not. It should not be raked off to profits. People who have invested.
What about?
It's a casino. Don't you get it? They're just investing, and they pull it out quick or whatever. Day trading. It's just a casino. That's what it is. And when they invest, it's not, we're going to help make jobs. We're doing something to benefit. That's what it's an.
Well, how the investment banking is, they have feasibility studies. They're trying to figure out if you're going to invest in something, let's just think in a certain way.
How about requiring that they invest in something beneficial?
That would be what they call, that could be done through a lot of what was done, Glass-Steagall, and government regulation, Security Exchange Commission, this kind of thing, and the revolution of law, that could be done, but you still got private sector. You got a private sector that is doing a great deal. You have companies that are very huge and very and when they go and make an investment, they're going to make an investment out of past savings.
Okay.
So they're going to make it out of past savings, like the latifundia in the European year. They're going to make it so you got past savings, and they can put up collateral to make an investment in something that is going to pay for itself out of its future earnings. Not only, not only so that the investment can be linked to future earnings. It says it's going to pay for itself in 5 or 10 years. They can get that linked to the future that gives them you call it a profit, but they make a good, it's in their interest to make a good investment, and if not, they go out of business.
Oh, wait a minute. All right.
And so the thing is that's linked to the people. Only who have accumulated savings can do that. The people have no way. The only way for the people to get money to buy food for the kiddies is through, they don't have any capital ownership. They don't have any ownership of technology. All the buildings, all the streets, all the technology is owned by a tiny plutocratic class. And that's okay with you?
What are you
It's
saying?
okay that you have an economic plutocracy. You don't have an economic democracy. All the capital assets are owned by a tiny plutocratic class in every political system. The only way for people to get income, the folks, is for them to have a job on the estate of the people, the few people who own all the capital assets, and it's perfectly all right to let all the capital assets, buildings, roads, streets, and resources to be owned by a tiny class because of some sort of idea that that's on the hill, they should own everything. The people should have no ownership of capital assets as a way of getting income. Is that what you're saying? I don't know what you're saying.
I am for public
assets. You don't want any private. You want to do away with private sector?
No.
Everything be in the public sector? Everything be government? That's what they tried to do in the Soviet Union. It didn't work.
The Pilgrims, when they came to this country, they realized that there needed to be a common area.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right. Where do you graze your sheep?
Yeah, the commons are being invaded.
Commons,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this concept that we have concerns that we share and we work together.
Yeah.
We need public education. We need public medical care.
Yeah.
All these things should not be privatized.
Okay, well
That's what I want. I want public benefits to the people.
Yeah,
Talk about
I'm agreeing.
Some of the millions of people owned a home until they got screwed.
Yeah, right.
And got foreclosed.
Well,
talk about ownership.
That's another issue. Then let's just talk. We got a few minutes left. Foreign policy. It looks like they're all gearing up to go and bomb Iran again.
Oh,
now, you brought it up before about the drones.
We've done that.
They've got the drones, and they've got weapon systems now, Beth, I think, have become species lethal after 200,000 years of our being here. And they don't have a vision of universal justice that's going to be able to be understood. And they're protecting their interests. They got bases all over the world. They've got bases. There's a greater disparity of wealth in this country than there was in 1789 France.
I think
in terms of, it's all owned by a tiny group.
Right.
And everything. And they got that.
And
so now they're going to go, and there's this ginning up. And one of the places where that construct between the haves and have-nots is in the Middle East, Israel and the Palestinians and that. And then they're now going to, they went and knocked off Muammar Gaddafi. Now they're talking about seriously bombing Iran. What do you think of that? What do you think of that attitude?
If we're going to be bombing anybody, why aren't we bombing the officials in Syria? 7,000 people mowed down in the street? Mm-hmm. Are we in cahoots with them? How come that's all right? We can take out Muammar Gaddafi. He was doing things for his people, and you know that. You were there, you interviewed him.
I did. I think he was ahead. I think they got him because he was ahead of the curve, at least in what he was suggesting. Right. Partly because he did not believe in the labor theory of value. That gets back to what informs those. He was ahead of history's curve.
Yeah.
And so they would have wiped him out.
We were in cahoots with
what about
Saddam.
Iran?
Wait a minute. We were in cahoots with Saddam Hussein. You know, he was
Yeah,
our
I know.
son of
He
a
was
bitch.
our guy. Yeah,
right,
right.
doing bad things until he didn't cooperate with the U.S. Then he became targeted.
Yeah.
But we know
April Glasby,
that
yeah.
she
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
that we have no.
We won't do anything. Yeah.
So they
So it's
invaded.
the old geopolitical
That's it.
game.
Right. But
And-
the whole point with him, the allegation, and we're doing it again, that they have the capacity to create nuclear weapons. U.S. is the one to let the genie out of the bottle.
Right.
We have an obligation to try to be in control, to diminish all the nuclear capability.
Do you think we can do that? If we,
I do believe, but why don't we? Why is it so indiscriminate? It's okay for Pakistan. It's okay for India.
Because they
whatever.
got it.
Yeah,
did
they got it. Right.
Israel's got 400. That's okay.
And
it's okay for us, for
Israel-
Britain,
yeah.
for the guy.
Right.
Well, okay, yeah, that's the
But that
world.
is
Yeah.
so
Now the
unjust.
world.
But we could take the lead. We've never been
Take the lead in what?
in
Justice?
agreement. No, to diminish nuclear capability.
Well, they brought it down. Do you think we're okay now that they've got
No.
START and Reagan made that pact
No.
with Gorbachev and
No.
stuff? They were
No.
okay. There was a
Not
time
near enough.
when the
But
modeling.
we
Do you
are
remember?
doing
We're
the
old
same
enough.
thing.
Remember Duck and Cover?
Yeah, I remember
they were
that. Hide
thinking-
under your desk.
We're coming. Yeah. Okay. That the weapons were in the mind of the leadership. There was no question that those weapons that existed were species lethal. They could wipe out the entire Homo sapiens species. Couldn't happen in the Second World War. Major existential change. Do you think the weapon systems are still of that
Yes.
order?
Yes.
Okay,
I
then
do.
why don't we come up?
We need. You know what? I grieve about Dennis Kucinich.
Yeah, he just lost in
He
Ohio.
did, but it was gerrymandering.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Marcy Kaptur is a good person too. We need them both. But the gerrymandering knocked out
Yeah.
a good. I want to see Obama, and I hope he will, establish for the first time on the face of this earth a Department of Peace.
That's
a
what
cabinet
Dennis
level.
wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see
cabinet
it
level.
happening, do you?
I want to see.
Do you see it
Dennis
happening?
Well, I don't know.
would-
As a humanist, I don't pray, but I might make an exception.
Uh-huh.
Obama, if you're listening, please, a Department of Peace, and it needn't interfere with anything else that's going on there, because learning lessons, lessons learned, and peacemaking. There are so many things that are going on at the United Nations that we ought to be in cahoots with instead of making war. We don't have a peace college. I mean, that's what we need.
Well,
we teach war making, and as long as
That's
you
a big
gear-
industry.
as
That's
long
a
as-
huge thing.
but, you know,
That's an export. That's one major export.
But I was going to talk about evolution. In the childhood of humankind, we
Yeah.
did the best we could.
Yeah.
And but I think if we are evolving at all into, and Lawrence
think we
Kohlberg,
are.
I was going to talk about Lawrence Kohlberg, who defined the levels of ethical behavior, of moral development. And as toddlers, it's you obey because you'll get punished,
Yeah.
and this is most of religion is based.
We got to
on
be
that.
doing. A humanist is
Yeah.
a good tactic. One of the problems, and the thing is, time in universe and in this, we're out of time.
I know
I'm
we're
sorry.
out of
It's so
time.
great talking to you. Peace, love.
Peace.
Your pleasure.
Peace.
Beth Lamont, a
good
real
things.
major a humanist, and so
Do
on.
good things,
Just scratch
people.
the surface. Be peaceful. Let's build a better world and everything. And remembrance of Corliss Lamont, who
Lamont.
was a giant in terms of
He was
improving
a
the human
giant.
condition. Thank you
was
very much for
courageous.
viewing. We'll be coming back tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it got it in anyway. They didn't throw us out.
Throw us out.
They didn't throw us out.
This
No
was good.
86.
Thank you. Hey,
Okay.
come back here.
Yeah,
Come
give me
here.
a hug.